All right, with it being after 7 o'clock, I will call the April 12th meeting to order and start off with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First order of business, we didn't have anybody review the minutes, so we'll table that till the next meeting. And we will start off with the 242-273 corrected partial COC.
Alrighty, so this order was issued in August of 1985. It governed the construction of an 8-lot subdivision roadway and the development of the house lots. After the subdivision was approved, Lot 5 and 6 exchanged slivers of land through an A&R and were renamed from 6 to 6A and 5 to 5A. The 5A had gone down in deed references. In 2014, the commission issued a partial certificate releasing Lot 5, 15 North Cross, and the partial COC referenced Lot 5, not the new alphanumeric ID of 5A. Current owners would like a corrected partial certificate of compliance to be issued to reference the accurate alphanumeric ID of 5A.
Joe? I mean, Al, I'm sorry.
I have no questions.
Jack?
No questions.
Joe?
Just want to make sure we get it right, though. So 5A is the lot as it exists now subdivided, right? And we're only granting the partial on that portion of the total lot, or is
No.
5A the consolidated lot now?
5A is the consolidated lot.
Consolidated lot.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, I understand it.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Next one is a NECC 93, a renewal for the Giving Garden Rolling Ridge.
Alrighty. So, Commission will recall this small project governs the Giving Garden at Rolling Ridge. Every year, the organizers and the implementers of this garden come before you with an update on its yearly activities and soil conservation practices. I visited the site last week with Fran Fink, my contact with the South Church, and things look good, stable. They're making no new requests this year for any kind of new activity or structures. But the commission issued approval for the installation of a greenhouse last year, and that's up and incubating plants already, right in where the location that we approved. Drip irrigation was installed and needed during the droughty summer last year. They continue to use no-till gardening to maintain soil microbial community. Organic blood meals used, straw and compost leaf litter used as mulch, and weeds are controlled by mowing, hand pulling, mulching, and straw. So, Commission typically renews this approval and attaches the continuing conditions listed that require, the yearly annual report. The Water Commission holders of the CR on the property should be notified of the renewal of organic farm permit, and only organic weed and pest control should be used on the site.
No questions.
No questions.
No questions.
This has been excellent.
The compost toilet, that was
Working wonderfully.
working
Yeah.
wonderfully. Thanks for the update.
I took a
It was
gander
actually
in
on
there. It's
TV
pretty
last
cool.
year.
It's a very nice
When I
structure.
first got approved, it was on
Oh,
Chronicle.
there she
I
is.
That was
There's
a-
Fran.
That was a wonderful addition to this place. I'm very excited about this.
Yeah.
Thank you. All set.
Fran Fink is here if you had any questions, but
No,
we
there's
might,
also-
we might not.
We love the toilet.
So Amy, my question is of you procedurally. So that we've already in the past classified this as a small project under the correct category.
Yeah.
And we've given it its approval. For a renewal, is it just simply a straight motion to renew? So moved.
Yep.
Side question, is there any, because they've had, how long have you had this? The
I
garden
think
leave
it's
garden?
2017.
Good question. I think 2015 was maybe the first year we started farming it. There was somebody else.
Could you speak into the microphone,
Oh, yeah.
please?
Oh,
Yeah, and
Sorry.
I think 2017, there was somebody farming it before us for a year or two, and then we came in, so.
2015, you're right.
But
Yeah.
my question is if there's no changes, can't we extend it so they don't have to come back every year, or is that something we have to do?
We don't have to do
No,
it.
we
But I
actually-
like the annual report.
we asked
You have
them.
water commissioners.
We requested that they come back annually, not to be punitive, but to just get an update on what's happening, the activities.
And to let the public know how great this is.
Yeah,
This is a great
all the
project.
above. But I remember we asked that you come back. It was something that it keeps us aware of your projects.
Yeah, no, we don't mind coming back,
Okay.
so.
All right,
So you have a motion and a second?
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Thank you.
All set.
All right, thank you so much. Yeah, that was easy.
All right, next one is 242-1859 Turnpike Street, requested continue to 4/26.
So move.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Next one is 242-1865 1845 Turnpike Street.
Mr. Chairman and members of the commission, for your record, my name is Steve Stopinski from Merrimack Engineering. The owners of the property are here this evening. The commission continued the hearing so that we could resolve and bring to some degree of certainty the construction methods that were going to be utilized by the contractor on the site for the proposed addition that's on the south side of the house and the deck, which is located on the west side of the house. If the commission will recall, there was a access way that was going to be provided on the east side of the house over the front stairs. After discussions with the architect, the contractor, the owner, myself, that access way has been eliminated on the plan that's before you. Instead, there's a proposed 15-foot wide corridor that would be constructed on the west side of the house where the deck is going to be. And that corridor is adequate, in the contractor's opinion, to provide access to the addition for a small mini excavator, for a bobcat, both of which would be the type of equipment that would be utilized for the excavation and construction of the addition, the small addition. The contractor is proposing to remove the existing deck, which was going to be removed anyway, construct the addition, and then once the addition is completed, then he would construct the deck secondarily. I know there was some question as to how they would get concrete from the driveway over to the addition, and the contractor is proposing to pump it. He would have a pumper with a hose that would run in the corridor to the footing. The walls would be block walls if they weren't put in place, and then the slab would be a concrete slab that they would again pump. So that was really essentially it. So we've adjusted the notes to be responsive to the fact that We don't have the corridor on the east, that we just have it on the west side of the house. And that's it. Happy to answer any questions you have. The owners are here as well.
None at this time.
You're doing a concrete footing, and you said block
Block
foundation.
walls.
So they're gonna do the same thing, and they're gonna bobcat the block over to, there's not gonna be any truck, right?
Right, they would use a bobcat to carry the block, yeah.
Okay. Stockpile, it's kind of a busy plan.
Yeah, I have a soil stockpile shown just south of the proposed addition. Inside the erosion control, it's right outside the 50-foot no-build zone. It's like, sort of looks like a little kidney.
Yeah, this one? Roughly?
So you're gonna need a waiver for the 25, to getting back. What are your plans as far as restoration on the 25?
We've specified that the disturbed area be loomed and seeded. It's lawn right now,
Okay,
and it'll be put back as lawn
okay,
in that corridor.
thank you. Jeff?
I have no questions. It looks like this is a much better plan, refined in the past 3 weeks. No questions.
I agree, we called into question of the access, and it made no sense the last time around, but with removal of the deck and coming in the back, it does, and it works. This is not a deep foundation excavation, so the stockpile area is not even that big to begin with, right?
No, in fact, literally, the existing grade is going to stay where it is. There's no change in grading. They're going to dig down 4 feet for the frost wall, and the foundation height is a total of 5.5 foot high, because it's going to stick up above the existing grade 1.5 foot. So it's 5.5 feet high.
You might actually bring material in to backfill.
Right, right, exactly, yeah.
Okay, I'm all set.
Just gotta read this again. What'd you say about the shed?
So there is a shed that was installed, and it's in the 25-foot no disturb zone at the end of the, sort of the hammerhead part of the driveway there. The only approvable place for it is up in the corner south of the new addition. But, you know, obviously they can't put it there until, you know, the infiltration chamber is completed. So I didn't know how the commission wanted to handle that. I mean, because that's its new home eventually.
We would typically want it moved initially. It's impossible here to do that.
I know it's not ideal, but
I think it's academic that, you know, one way or the other, that it has to be out to get a certificate of compliance.
yes.
So it has to be out before this project's done. If they don't ever come for certificate of compliance, we can address that with a bond.
I don't,
So it gets
Yeah, it's
relocated
tough.
to that red square.
Yeah.
no, actually.
No?
Right here, where my cursor is, right there,
Yeah, but.
right up there.
Oh, okay.
You look at the red,
It
I'm not
it
looking
goes
at the
over
regular,
the
yeah, the
infiltration
dotted
chamber a
square.
little bit.
Yeah.
The red is the stockpile. So,
So sequence would be build the addition, backfill it. First of all, tear the deck down for access, build the addition, backfill it, move the shed, build the deck back, and enclose it.
Right,
Sequence.
infiltration system after the foundation's in.
Okay.
Then they can move the shed.
foundation. I will.
Is there enough
Shed.
room to swing around with that shed there?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Okay. And Al, do you have any more questions?
I do not.
All right, motion?
Well,
you
I
all
just,
set?
I just, for the benefit of the homeowners, so we don't have a lot of wiggle room here with the 50-foot no-build zone. So, your contractor and yourselves need to know that this is what we expect to see on the plan. If it's an inch over, that inch is going to get shaved off. And, because this commission will make you do that, so, and so sticking to this proposed plan of work sequence is really important. If the, I'm glad that the contractor has had time to have input so that he's not second-guessing a plan that he didn't create. I'm going to trust that he can carry this out and not sort of switch gears in the middle of the project. So I just wanted to kind of impress upon that.
Amy, on the order, we're gonna have, is the foundation have to be certified on this project?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, so that's a boilerplate condition of every order when there's an addition or a new home. The commission requires an interim foundation as-built plan. So Steve would have to certify that foundation before stick work starts to make sure that, it's meeting those setbacks to the 50. So just be aware of that. Okay.
I move we close and issue in 21 days.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Actually, this discussion that Amy just had, just to make sure we clear, the certified is on the addition itself, but the reality, the relocated shed is closer.
True.
Do you want that pinned as well, or do you want them, when do you want that certified?
Well, it could probably be at the same time. I mean, if you've got your foundation, you're moving the shed, you're doing it all at the same time.
But I don't think that's the case. I think the foundation's going in, infiltrator's going in, shed's being relocated. So if that happens in that sequence before they start building superstructure, then a single certified plot plan makes sense.
Should make 2 certifieds.
Do 2 certifieds.
Right.
Cha-ching.
And that shed can be moved a foot.
You just wanna make sure the foundation is certified before they put a stick on the ground.
Yes,
Yeah,
I think that.
okay, I get you.
because the shed is actually closer.
I know,
And
you're right.
So we want to know what
You're
that
right.
is.
Right.
So
Okay.
we can condition that. We can condition that.
Okay.
Everything that we're talking about can go in the order of conditions.
Before we close it, I want to make sure it's on the table.
Yep.
All right.
Did you guys want to vote on the waiver to allow for access through the 25?
I'll move to grant the waiver for the purpose of construction access.
Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that's unanimous.
And we have a motion and a second on the closing.
Yes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. You all set, Steve?
Alrighty,
Thank you.
all right. So the hearing's closed. The commission will deliberate tonight on the decision and the conditions of the permit. And I'll do my level best to get it out to you as soon as I can.
Steve, we'll figure the bond out when we do the decision. Okay?
All right. Thank you.
I just wanted that to the
I hear you.
Oh, all right.
No.
I thought it said the 10th. So you want me to say the 24th? Okay. All right, thanks.
Next one is 242-1864, 42 J Road.
Evening, I'm Bill Dufresne with Merrimack Engineering, representing Randy Mitchell, the owner of 42 J Road, also present here tonight. My apologies for not being here at the previous hearing. Most of these issues probably would have been resolved and we wouldn't be here tonight. Some issues, I believe, came up surrounding the issue of dewatering. Just in a general statement, I generally put dewatering bags on my plans because it often comes up as a concern of the commission's, even in circumstances where I don't anticipate dewatering, I put it on there anyway. In this particular instance, the septic tank that's being proposed is above the water table at its seasonal high point by over a foot. The test pit, there's 2 test pits, one closer to the home, one further from the home near the street. based on those two test pits. The bottom of the tank is, I think it's 1.3 feet above the seasonal high water table. With regards to construction of the actual leach field, based on the two test pits, the test pit closest to the home had 7 feet of fill in it, which is going to have to come out. The test pit closest to the street indicated 3 feet of fill being removed. Based on that removal depth, the leach field will be about a foot into the seasonal high water table. That seasonal high water table has come and gone. I don't anticipate we're going to encounter water when we're doing that excavation. I do test pits 2 to 3 days a week. I did test pits today on a site, 84-inch deep hole with a 3-foot seasonal high water table. There was no water in the hole. So water tables have receded. It's been a fairly dry spring, so we don't expect that for the leach excavation. However, if we were to, we wouldn't be dewatering. That affects the integrity of the bottom of the hole. We don't suck water out of a leach excavation. It draws fines to the surface. What they would do in this case, and it wouldn't be the whole bottom, if they did encounter water, they would remove some of the fill, place the Title V sand as they excavate it and move their way out, rather than opening the entire hole and then just trucking in sand and filling up the hole. So there's construction techniques that we would use separate from dewatering if water was weeping into the hole when we excavated for the leach field. But again, we don't anticipate that, certainly not at this point in time. I know the homeowner is anxious to do this. He's in a situation where he's pumping his septic system regularly. So he has a contractor already engaged to do this work and ready to get going as soon as all the permits are in place for him to do so. So short of us getting the April rains and us driving the situation where we have a seasonal high water table, we don't expect any water in the bottom of the hole. Also, with regards to soil stockpiling, and these things are all indicated on this erosion control plan I did. This system is not in fill. It's not coming out of the ground, so we have no need for excess fill being placed around the leach field. This soil is all unsuitable soil that's going to be trucked out as it's removed from the ground. There's an indication on the plan that that is the technique that the contractor is to use. He's going to load fill and take it out as it comes out of the ground because there's no way to reuse it on site. And that hole will be filled with Title V approved septic sand and then loam over the top of the system. So again, it's not fill that we anticipate using anywhere on site. It will be trucked out daily as it's excavated from the site. So I think those were the concerns you had. If there's more, Amy, bring them to my attention. I'll see if I can address them.
No questions?
Jack?
No questions.
Joe?
Are these the record drawings as far as the permit application is concerned? Because what we have is a site plan dated March 8th of '23. We have a sheet 2 of 2 dated January of '23, and we have a partial plan of something. I don't know if they all tie together.
Okay.
This supposed to be enlarged of
This is
this,
enlarged of that,
of that.
right, yep.
So,
And then.
This is the second sheet
two
of that?
Of this one,
so that even though the dates don't agree, they do all go together.
right.
So that's January versus March.
Joe, usually, this is the site plan I submitted with the notice of intent. I generally do a separate site plan. There's so much information on the separate plan that doesn't involve wetland issues.
Which is this, and that's the enlargement of that.
Yes.
Okay.
All right,
And this is just the detail from what went to the Board of Health?
No, I have a separate Board of Health plan which has been approved. Now, that's the plan that was lacking at the last hearing that didn't allow you to make a decision because you didn't see water tables and test pit data. Now, that was my mistake because it's on your portal. Amy comments when I submit it, you need to file a notice of intent, so I assume it gets printed and put in your file. And so I didn't submit it with the notice of intent.
So
I have that with me today. It's 2 sheets. It's approved.
we probably want that as the record, because that's what they're gonna build it from.
This is what they're gonna build a septic system from.
That's what
And
we
that,
need-
they
that's-
They get both plans because the order of conditions is gonna reference that plan, and so.
That needs to be the record.
That should be the record drawing for this hearing.
What they build it from is what we need.
Right, that's exactly right.
And I did physically submit 2 copies after the last hearing of that plan, that what you,
The Board of Health approved the site plan dated January 10th, 2023. That's what their letter says.
correct, and that's what I submitted to you a couple days after the last hearing. I gave you 2 copies, or maybe 3, I ran them over. The same day I sent you that follow-up email addressing all the concerns you had.
Okay.
In addition, you had previously got the erosion control site plan I submitted with the NOI. So they both should be in the record in the order of conditions.
So exactly what I'm looking for. Before we close, I want to make sure we have all the documents that we can cite in the order.
Yeah.
What I try to avoid, frankly, is Lou's comment, this is a busy plan, it's tough to read. So I try to do separate
That's one and
plans
two.
so that you can see the
So this
wetland-related things.
and this are the record.
So, explain to me the difference between January 10th, 2023 and the March 8th, 2023.
The March 8th plan I just gave you, the erosion control site plan,
Yeah.
that's the plan I submitted with the notice of intent. I did not submit the septic plan.
Okay, gotcha.
I did a separate plan entitled erosion control site plan.
Okay, and that's got,
That's this.
They
that's
should both
got
be
the
record
dirt
plans.
bag on it, that does not have the dirt bag
Yep.
on it, that's got, okay, got it, so
So
this
the
and.
citation is that
Yes.
set plus this one
Yes.
sheet. Bingo, I'm all set, I'm all set.
Construction notes and sequence, I put on that erosion control plan. And whether we anticipate dewatering and stockpiling issues, those things.
Okay. Thanks.
So, yeah,
No,
any,
no more questions.
Just a quick question.
You have the plans you need?
I do, yes,
Will our order for this require an as-built?
yeah,
Okay, so the as-built would be, should match the record drawing that you just provided,
yep,
the January drawing.
yep,
The as-built should match the January drawing.
yep. I think
it will
essentially.
match both drawings because the plan
It's the
view is
same
the same. I copied.
Plan
and put
view
it-
is the same.
Just trying to,
Bill, what you submitted to the Board of Health was for their purposes, much more detailed. It's exactly what was submitted to us, except the other things is what we look for.
What we call the
So-
surrounds and the details.
So together, nothing's different.
yeah.
That's correct.
Collectively, that's the
That's
project.
correct. What you did not have on the erosion control site plan, and I should have put it on, is test pit data, so you can look at water tables. But I don't see the reason to put D-box details and give those to you, and all the specifications that relate only and specifically to Title V. So I try and make you not have to decipher through all that data and information to see the things you want to see.
Okay. I'm all set.
I had a quick question. So if they encounter groundwater in the leach field when they're doing their thing, would you be on site during that?
I have to do an excavation inspection, and generally, any competent, conscientious contractor finds water in the bottom, they call the engineer and say, we got water in the bottom, what should we do? And this is a case where we dig out a little bit and fill it with, you have a truck sitting there with Title V sand.
Okay.
It goes right in the hole,
Okay,
because
alright.
you don't want to compromise the integrity of a bed bottom. It's the most significant thing in installing a septic system. The last thing you want is to fill up with water and then drain, and all the fines sit and they silt it up and fill up the bottom. Nor do you want a pump running in there and throwing stone and a pump in there, sucking and drawing fines to the surface.
Right.
So that's one thing you definitely don't want to do in a
Yeah,
bed bottom.
okay,
And so I don't ever anticipate dewatering in a leach field bed bottom.
okay, all right. But you'd be there if there is.
I'll give you an
to watch.
example. We had a system in this town, 22 Bannon Drive, that a contractor went to install. Not the most experienced contractor I worked with. It was a site that never would be built in today's standards. It was probably a filled wetland. When he excavated out the leach field, he was digging out stumps, roots down into the water, and it was just a hole of mud and water. And he's like, what do I do? And he opened the whole thing up. You can't. You've got to do this job at a time of the year where it's drier, and/or implement construction methods where you get sand in there
Yeah.
as you dig the bottom so that you don't have this problem. And neither of those occurred. They stopped work, and they're waiting for it to dry up. And you have an order of conditions on that site as well.
Yep, no, I know,
So you're familiar with it.
yep. Okay,
So we have a motion?
Want to make sure Amy was all set for it?
yeah, I'm all set, I just wanted that.
I move that we close.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
thanks for coming.
Uh, 242-628, 64 Meadowwood.
They actually, Steve Stupinski just corrected me. They're asking for a continuance to our second meeting in May.
Okay. Well,
due to travel and business and work.
Okay, so that's what, that'll be 5,
5,
24.
24th, yep.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Enforcement order 40 Flagship Drive.
Okay,
Is there any time sensitive about that enforcement order that we need them sooner, or is it just to give us an update?
no, well, I'd like to issue it next meeting. I haven't drafted it, but I wanted to give you an update that Town Council and I met with DEP, Jill Provincial and their attorney, DEP's, general counsel, to talk about, to make sure we understood whether the violator could still be held responsible even though the violation is on someone else's property. Because typically, right, the violation runs with the land and the landowner, where the violation is the responsible party. They were able to impart that the responsible party is the violator, and they have had the same type of experiences and held the perpetrating party responsible.
So there's nothing that has to happen before that second meeting in May?
Oh, he's talking
Well-
about two different things. He's still talking about
I'm
Meadow.
still talking about Meadowwood, yeah.
Oh, I
Yes.
thought you were
She's
talking
talking
about 40
about 40
flags.
No, I'm talking about Meadowwood.
Oh, yeah, no, there doesn't have to be anything. I mean, they need to.
Just looking at that, it's an enforcement order, if there's anything
No,
time
no,
sensitive.
no. We didn't issue an enforcement order, but we were anticipating issuing one because the commission's denied the request for a certificate of compliance and said, come back with a plan to make it comply, and we'll allow that work under EO and we'll issue it.
Okay,
But they
Just
haven't
waiting on a
been-
plan.
Yes.
Got it. Sorry.
That's okay. So now we'll do 40 Flagship. You already told us.
Well, I just told you about
Yeah.
30 flagships, so anyway. So what I'd like to do is draft up an enforcement order for that, have town council look at it, and just present it to you at the next meeting. I couldn't do it this week. I just didn't have time.
Had other stuff.
I had other stuff.
So what we had talked about was issuing an enforcement order, then we said we'll hold off to see what the abutters want to do, so we have them and us at the same time. In the meantime, Amy talked to town attorney, and they talked to DEP, and they said to go ahead and send an enforcement order to these people because they created the problem. That's why they want us to do an enforcement order. Not, that's probably gonna fall on deaf ears anyways, but
But we just want to make sure we're on solid footing in that respect, so.
so you're gonna do the enforcement order tonight?
No, I want to draft it.
Well, okay, but I wanna start the fines next meeting.
Okay, we can establish a schedule for that.
Right. Does that work for you guys? Seeing it's been a past history of such wonderful.
We're talking about this one?
40 Flagship, yeah.
We've already been down this road, right?
This is bringing the abutters in to be our allies in
Right.
getting the applicant to pay attention.
Gotcha.
'Cause
But
they've been
start-
agreeing.
Starting the fines and accumulating the fines, it's likely going to take the same route as the last batch of fines.
It might even look to be purely punitive, so what we want to do is we want to keep these
I mean,
abutters
I don't-
on our
I
side.
don't object to issuing fines following procedures correctly.
Mhm.
I have no objection to it. I just feel like there needs to be more proactive work done at the court so that when we walk in there, we're not ambushed. There needs to be some,
I don't think fines all by itself does that. We can talk about that at the next meeting, but that's not the answer.
well, but that's how the system works. When the police departments go into the courthouse, they have a liaison officer that's there every day that has FaceTime with the clerks, so that when they bring violations in, there's already a working relationship taking place. We walk in, and we might as well be from Mars. And I'm sure that Amy will tell you she was treated with great courtesy, but at the end of the day, there was no professional respect given. And what I'm suggesting is, no objection to starting the procedure, but there has to be some type of contact made with the court to bring them up to speed and to get them to know this is what's coming and this is why.
That's not us directly, that's us through the liaison?
That would be us through the police department, that would be us through town council. It's not us, not this commission, it's not Amy, but it's people that are in that world. The police department has a court officer that's over there every day. Amy could make contact with that court officer. And that court officer could start the process. That's how the system works. If we want to not be frustrated, and at the end user point, that's how you have to do it. Because if we just go over, when we wait till it gets up to whatever, and the recipient of the fine says, okay, I appeal, and they get a hearing in front of the clerk magistrate. A, you got a clerk magistrate that likely doesn't understand wetlands, and B, a clerk magistrate that really doesn't know what we're doing anyway. And I think it's more productive if there's some type of a professional working relationship that begins prior to getting in there.
Agreed.
So that's all I'm suggesting. And
Yeah, and I think establishing a schedule for deadlines of delivery of a restoration plan, execution of the restoration plan.
But the
Or,
approach we're
you
using,
know-
it's not 40 flagship itself, it's the three abutters who've all had impacts, who thus far have pretty much just said, well, it's just gonna happen. But their land are themselves in violation. That's why we're putting them on notice. Not so much to penalize them, but to get them
Right.
to partner with us to get the guy
Yeah.
to clean the place up.
Right.
So we're talking twofold. We're not talking about 40 flagship per se.
We're not
We're
talking
talking
40.
about-
We're
we're
talking about the
talking about-
abutters.
We're talking about
about the perpetrator who is the
Violated the
developer of
wetlands
40
down the street.
flagship,
Okay.
Mr. Linsky.
yes,
That's the responsible party.
Okay.
and that's what I'm talking about all along.
Yeah.
Like I said, we've already
Right.
gone to court one
Right.
time. Okay?
Right. And I think this is different.
It is.
Okay.
It would be different this time
The other one was
because
for
the
not
order
sending in an NOI.
will require restoration of a wetland as opposed to file a permissive permit.
This is
Very different. That's what I wanted to make
Right?
sure.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about the next meeting, but I'm not so sure fines all by themselves are the answer. But a very clearly mapped out timetable that lets this guy deal with the abutters that he's impacted. And if not, at that point, we can put the fines in place. But really, the
Yeah,
strategy right now is
well, yeah,
almost borderline
we-
executive session.
Yeah, well, we can, so
The site's
Let-
stable, right?
site stable,
The planning board has an order of conditions on it,
a permit, yep,
and the planning board has a bond.
yep,
They do have a bond?
yes,
And no more construction's going on, everything's
Nope.
halted.
yep,
And it's a permanent cease and desist, there's
Yep.
no way around it.
right,
There's no reason for any movement because it's stable.
right.
All right, so we should at least consider a date sensitive for these people, that they have to be in communication with the abutters of their plans to reclaim the wetlands.
Also,
Right.
that
So
would,
yeah.
start with that would start with the new enforcement order,
Right,
saying, do this by this date,
Yes.
this by this date.
yes.
That's where
And
you
then
start.
that's where you start.
That's where it starts.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
So I'll establish that. We can tweak the dates once we
No, I
get
agree.
all together, but let me at least get the skeleton ready for you and,
Okay. So we'll
put
have
the
that
meat
all
on
put
the
together by
bones.
next meeting. Right?
yeah, so just
Okay.
continue to the next meeting.
Unless you want to go downstairs and do it now, bring it back up.
No, I'm good.
We're all good on that, thanks, buddy.
There's not much left up here this week, so.
Okay, so we'll just continue that till the next meeting.
Okay.
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. All right, decision time, 242-1866, 104 Bonnie Lane.
let them know or
Yeah, tell them to stay home.
don't.
Well, unless he wants to be in the office.
Need refreshing of memories.
So restoration of previously disturbed, is that something you want pre-construction or in concert with construction? Condition 49,
That's,
says prior to any work commencing. So that's like a precondition?
yeah, where,
Or is that just, is that restoration or is that just monumentation?
monumentation, yeah, I should, you're right, I missed that.
It's in the prior to construction section.
But specifically saying that that stuff needs to happen.
But there was restoration too, wasn't it? Or was it just,
Yeah, it's
was it
just-
just monumentation?
No, I've got it in the fence removal and restoration to be performed within the 25-foot no disturb zone. In the project description, but I should add that as a requirement under prior to construction.
That's what I was thinking. We typically do
Yes.
restoration first, so
Yep,
as part of conditions
yep,
49, you said? That's where it probably should be.
yep. Okay.
I was wondering, do we require a test pit on a built-in swimming pool?
You don't require them, but is there a need for one?
Probably, don't you think we should use one?
Only if there's a water table issue.
Well, we don't know we don't know if there's a water table issue.
Well, this, Bonnie
This
Lane is.
one not.
Bonnie Lane is uphill.
Right, this,
Oh.
this one doesn't, but some could.
This, I know you probably remember this, but this subdivision was built on a superseding permit. No, Conservation Commission denied the subdivision in the 80s. This subdivision was denied. They appealed to DEP, and of course, DEP rolled over and gave it to them, gave them a superseding order of conditions. There was, at the time, concern that direct sewerage was gonna make it into the lake. It did. And then a federal grant was issued to update the sewer system to get everybody off septics. And at the time, the only thing that struck me on this one, when all this happened, was contrary to popular belief, the water table wasn't prohibitive, even though it's like 50 feet from the lake. So, I don't, to answer your question, unless something has changed, I don't know that it would be.
I'm just curious, like, the water table, like, you see the elevations on the top of the top, but you don't see, like, the foundation, you see they show you the bottom of the foundation elevation.
They're not giving you the,
They don't give it to you in a pool.
oh, no kidding. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. So that should have been called out.
Well, I asked because they were talking about dewatering. Well, we don't have, we could tell them that we wanted dewatered up there, a pit, but, I don't know what the elevation is to the bottom of the pool.
Yeah.
You gotta figure it's not more than 10. Figure it's 8 feet plus 2 feet of excavation for, padding and whatnot.
Right.
So adjacent to it now, we're looking at elevation 144, so we're like at 134. The adjacent wetland is at 140. So it's in the water table. It is in the water table.
Yeah,
Not might be, it's in the water table,
yeah,
What is?
the pool.
bottom of the pool.
So they're going to de-water.
There will be dewatering. Unless they're gonna put it this 4 feet depth all the way around.
We should get so we're at elevation 144, existing elevation, right through the pool.
Yeah.
If pools are typically 8 feet deep, say 10 to get to the bottom for over excavation. So we're at 134. The adjacent wetland is 142, which is, 6 feet, 7 feet, 8 feet above the adjacent wetland table. So they're likely, almost certainly in the water. But all that aside, is there not a dewatering plan, or are they saying they don't need one?
They're saying you don't need one. They'll do so if need be. Excavation dewatering is not anticipated and was not discussed during a hearing.
So the commission disagrees with the applicant's statement. Remember, we're deliberating. We disagree with this statement, dewatering is not necessary. Dewatering is almost certainly necessary as a pre-construction condition. The applicant shall conduct test pits and report water table elevation.
Agreed.
And come back to us, if they find something that deviates. Report it to us. We'll tell them if it deviates.
Yeah, that's a good condition.
Yeah.
And that's clean.
But you're right. Before they start, they need to tell us where it's at, because it looks like, actually, I'm a little disappointed we didn't catch that during the hearing.
Yeah. I mean, and what we forward, Amy, when they come for an application for a pool, let's get the bottom of when we require it for the foundation, we should be requiring for the pool. Hole's a hole.
Okay. So. Prior to construction. So one test pit?
I wouldn't limit, they shall conduct sufficient number of test pits to demonstrate the elevation of existing groundwater. It might be 3, but sufficient number to tell us, to prove to us where the water is at.
That's a good catch.
The other the same
good
thing,
catch.
in the same token too, the elevation of the 1,000-gallon tank, if that thing's in the water table, it's
Yeah, it's like.
gonna float. So that could be an issue also.
Is adding the tank part of this project
It's a
for the heater?
dry well.
For dry well?
Yeah, out of the buffer.
And they're gonna pump, when they pump it off the pool off, they're gonna pump into the dry well tank.
The dry well tank's a good idea.
It is, if it's not in water,
Looks like it's
I
at
don't-
146.
as long as it's not in water.
Understood, but I understand. But when you look at the site, I mean, I don't
And
think
then
it's
they
in
have to
water, I
come
think
back
it's
to
uphill.
us.
What's the distance from there? What's the elevation?
Dry wells at 145.
148, right?
145?
This is really testing my
Trying to
eyes
find
here.
The dry wells at 140,
148?
145,
5,
right through 145.
Okay.
between 144 and 146.
So the reality is,
And the bottom of the.
they're not gonna float out, because they're all opened anyway, they're just gonna inundate, they're not gonna float out.
And they're over 10 feet above the bottom of the hill. I just don't see, of all the things that could go wrong, I don't think that's the one.
Yeah, the tank's not an issue, but
The pool is,
building the pool is, you're right.
And the pool's at,
we don't know what it is.
well,
The top of the pool is 140,
we're looking at the contours, right?
yeah.
So proposed patio pavers 145.5.
Okay,
So that's, they're saying, giving us a grade, so it's no more than 8 feet down, but over excavation to get piping and, bedding in, say 10 feet, takes you to 135. If the adjacent wetland is at 140 even, they're 5 feet into the same elevation as where the wetland exists. So they are almost certainly, if not positively,
That's definitely-
in the water table.
Definitely gonna pull the water.
So do we want them to do a test pit or just give us a dewatering procedure?
How about a monitor
They said there's a monitor there,
for the excavation?
yeah.
That would be,
So what they're proposing to us is they don't anticipate groundwater,
Yeah.
but if need be, they shall do something. So we're gonna,
Cease and
we're,
desist.
so we're gonna say, anticipating all of that is, we disagree with your assessment that that dewatering is not necessary. We believe it's likely. In accordance with that thought, as a pre-construction, you're going to conduct sufficient number of test pits to demonstrate the elevation of groundwater. And that you will report those findings to us, and the commission will decide whether there's an amendment or a compliance with the order of conditions as written.
We want the elevation, and we'll decide.
And we'll decide.
So they're gonna give us the elevation of the bottom of the pool.
And if it's sufficient and this is written right, then we're fine. If not, they come back and they ask for modification.
Okay,
But before they do that in the middle of digging it.
right.
Yeah.
Those are things, I know. Those are things, once you start,
and that's prudent, that's a prudent approach,
yeah.
considering it's right on the lake.
And Lou, I would agree with you that when proposed elevations and adjacent groundwater are so close, we should make that a standard requirement
Right.
moving forward. Sometimes it's,
Yeah,
feet
no-
separating it, not an issue, but this,
Yeah,
things like this, we need to know it.
Yeah,
yeah, no objection.
all right, so we have to continue this?
No.
No, that's- no, it's
We can issue it as amended,
Okay,
as a minute, yeah.
so moved.
Second.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that's unanimous. Next one is 242-1864, 42J Road.
So Amy, just on this one, the citation of
Oh,
the
yeah.
site plans,
Yes.
make sure we account for
Absolutely.
the two different sets.
Yes.
I know if his construction practice that he uses is the right one, but when you start and once you hit water and you're chasing that water, what happens in the end?
It's a juggling act. A little bit out, into a tight truck, good stuff back in. A little more out, good stuff back in. So theoretically, you're basically filling that void in with good Title V sand.
And that sand doesn't get
So
contaminated.
what you got is the slop coming out,
Yeah.
slop going into the truck, and what sort of, you have no discussion on that sort of protection. It is dewatering with a bucket instead of pumping.
I mean,
Now,
how we can say that the bed is not getting contaminated or compromised?
With all the sloshing around.
well, you still have to be 2 feet above that water line anyway,
Right.
in the end.
Yeah, that's the
So the
final
reality is
thought.
putting good Title V sand in, and still coming up above it. So it's no worse than the material that was there to begin with, but he just simply has to go that much deeper and that much higher coming back. He still has to be 2 feet above water in the end.
Okay.
2 feet's the separation.
But maybe will be, but he also said.
He hit the nail on the head. Good contractor, good product. Bad contractor, doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
That's the oops factor we talk about, right?
I still don't,
Who's driving the D9 today?
okay, I mean, whatever, you guys wanna agree with it, fine, but I don't.
We have never conditioned means and methods.
Right.
The end result is what we condition.
Yeah, but at some point, we should at least bring it up, because, well, if it's not done right,
It's not
then we didn't do our job.
our job is the end result.
Well, I know that we brought a health
Our,
issue.
our job is only to make sure that whatever comes out in any activity doesn't migrate into the resource area. That's our job.
I would agree with that.
And everything else, you gotta rely on Board of Health and their inspector to do their
And they're
stuff.
capable, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Okay,
We have enough work. Everybody good with this?
Yeah.
So moved.
Second?
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. And last but not least, 1845 Turnpike Street, 242-1865.
So we talked about the construction sequence, the minutes will talk about the construction sequence, but do we want them to submit that in writing, or do we already have it? We juggled it a little bit tonight, though, didn't we?
Yeah, yes, we did. So revised based on our discussion,
Yeah.
requiring
Demolition of the deck, build the
Build
foundation,
foundation,
build the
install-
infiltrating
right,
system,
Get the shed.
move the shed, rebuild the deck.
Right, and then get the concrete pad and the timbers that are.
So I don't think it's on the
supporting
record
shed.
other than what we mentioned in the meeting, so
Yeah.
we probably want them to submit that back to us.
Okay,
Because you can't drive over a septic system.
Well, they're not doing that anymore.
No.
Yeah, right.
But he didn't consider it the first time around.
Well, you don't live there. Even as the water plant, I'm not crazy about number 48.
Because
One of the water on crushed stone bags.
well, I don't know.
Bless you.
I mean, will we have to dewater with this one? It's a 4-foot frost wall.
Yeah, better go that deep on this one.
I don't, but this one probably doesn't need it, but I don't understand the reluctance of a contractor not do a dewatering plan. Just do it. It's a couple buckets and you excavate, dig a hole, and throw 4 or 5 tons of stone in it, and you're done. I mean, it ain't like we're making them redesign
It's a detail you can use on subsequent projects.
Yeah, I mean, ain't something you're rebuilding the Empire State Building, I mean, just do it.
Not to mention, he's going to be building a dry well infiltrator in the end anyway. In essence, if it doesn't use it, it's already built. He could use the infiltrator as your dewatering area.
Yeah. They work harder not to work.
That's nothing. That's not new.
So are you looking to amend condition 48?
Oh, I'm not crazy about the dewatering plan. If you guys are comfortable with it, that's fine.
Well, I think the elevation show they're not gonna get anywhere near groundwater.
Okay,
So this is a little different than
Yeah,
the
this
last one we
one's
talked
different.
about.
I mean, I'm okay with 48.
okay.
Me
I don't have a
too,
problem
me too.
with it.
But, not this project in particular, but, well, they do normally supply a dewatering detail, which we don't have, I've never heard this one before.
Hey, listen, that's called a big boy rule. If there's any problem, all work shall stop. So, you make it work, or you don't work,
I hate it.
right? That's the whole purpose of it. That's the way I understand it.
We have a month here anyways, right?
All right, so let's modify 48 a little bit. That prior to construction, the applicant shall show on the plan where it is they intend to install the dirt bag and crushed stone that would be brought to site and implemented if needed. Submit the location on the plan prior to construction.
To be approved by
Yeah.
administrator.
Yeah, because he says he has the stuff on site. He will have the stuff on site. He didn't say that.
This is
But he
saying that.
hasn't designated where he's putting it.
So we'll have the BMPs on site. And the plan will show where
Yes, where it's gonna go.
it's gonna go.
Wasn't a high bond in this one, was it?
What's the bond of this?
Three?
Four?
Four?
Yeah, 4,000.
Yeah, no less than that.
Yep.
There's a waiver involved, and
Yep.
Yeah,
a lot of close work.
I didn't know if the commission thought that engaging an independent wetland scientist that has no prior involvement with the project should be engaged.
Where'd that come from?
Well, the planning board requires like an independent monitor,
Well,
like.
we always have, we've always done that.
But well, not.
No,
not
we typically
independent.
allow we've allowed the applicant's engineer to be the monitor, historically, because we've never said anything to the contrary.
My memory is, we've gone out of our way to get somebody that's not associated with the project to be the monitor. There's been very few
disagree.
exceptions. Those, I know
I
the
think it's the other way
exceptions.
around. I think there's
Yeah,
been
it-
exceptions
it's
where
the
we
other way.
required it.
I remember when we've made the exceptions, it was because we were dealing with individuals that had established a strong track record.
Yeah.
But I prefer,
If he's certified to it, we don't believe it.
I just,
Yeah, right,
I
yeah.
prefer somebody that is an arm's reach away.
I agree.
So,
Should leave it.
leave it, okay.
Leave it, yeah.
All right.
I think that should be the case all the time, honestly. If somebody's inspecting,
Yeah,
create that distance.
Yeah.
It just takes the pressure off the inspector.
You should be allowed to monitor your own project. You should be doing
so
that anyways.
52,
Yeah. We've done
I don't know if this makes sense, doing setback, stake setbacks of 5 or 10 feet for the addition.
It sounds like you're trying to have them stake the foundation before they pour it. Is that what's the reason for 52?
Just to make sure they don't mess up the
Put the-
setback.
put the foundation in the wrong
Where
place.
it's, right.
Yeah, okay.
Again, don't we require that? Don't we require the
No, we
foundation?
require the foundation be surveyed and certified prior to allowing superstructure construction.
But not prior to the pour?
Nope, not prior to the pour.
I thought we typically did.
I thought we did too. I
No.
thought ever since the days of R.L. Cormier, we've been requiring certification on the corners and setbacks prior to the pour.
Well, that's
Corners
their,
of the foundation after the pour.
after the pour, that's their
All
permit.
required.
If you put the foundation in the wrong spot, and because they
I get it, I'm
certified.
just
The
trying to.
time to catch is before the superstructure goes on,
Right.
goes
Well,
up.
you know what? We don't have to, because we can make a move, and we've done it.
Yeah.
But it's just uncomfortable position to be in.
So 52 is requiring that we inspect the locations of the corners of the foundation, right? Is that what it is? Yeah. And what's the 5 or 10-foot
Well-
setback?
Prior
Offset
to
stakes.
pour. I mean,
Well-
they kind of mix together.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm
Oh, 5 or
So
10
this is-
stakes.
I'm doing
Okay,
a
I gotcha,
offset.
I gotcha.
a 5-foot or 10-foot offset. I think maybe 5 feet will be in their way and they'll knock them frickin' over anyway. I don't know. It was just an idea because they're just hugging that
So they're at 50, they're right at 50.
51 point whatever, just outside.
We've had them
By
this close
foot.
before. We've had them this close before, and the good contractors and the good applicants can do it.
All right, well,
It's how
I
much
mean,
confidence you have. I don't know who the contractor is.
I don't know either.
It's a confidence thing. If you, I would never object to making somebody certified pre-pour. Just save yourself some aggravation. I would never
That's-
object to that. If you told
that's
me,
probably a good
certify
idea.
that corner before you pour the
Before
concrete,
the
I'd say
concrete.
yes, thank you, I will.
Include the foundation, the footings, do the footings.
You're saying in addition to the as-built pegged corners after the foundation
Yeah.
is poured and stripped?
Yeah,
I mean, you can get both, gives you belts and suspenders, but the reality is, the goal is the foundation can't be any closer.
that's the goal.
In anything they do for quality assurance ahead of that is on them.
What I'm thinking is this is such a tight, close site that if somebody screws up and pours the foundation incorrectly, it's gonna be a disaster getting it corrected.
Oh, they can take it out, it's not.
But taking it out is gonna be a big, messy job.
And it's blocks, by the way.
Yeah.
It's a block foundation, it's a frost wall.
Okay.
Slab up by, it's different than
All
a,
set.
Pour the slab, right?
Yeah.
They'll
Okay.
do the blocks and then pour the slab inside.
Shouldn't be a problem.
So,
Mickey Mouse.
so how
I
about,
think so too, yeah.
would we say, once the blocks are in, then you certify?
Well, this is what I was going at with
Right.
Steve, because the reality is, the closest thing to the resource area won't be the addition, it's the shed.
No, I know.
So what we really want is, once the shed is relocated out there, before you build anything on top of that addition,
Yeah.
and the shed is there, we want the limits of all of that surveyed to verify it's accurate.
I can't believe they're making such a big thing about that plastic shed.
Exactly. I almost debated it, I said, it's not worth it. The reality is, I would take the shed out, throw it away, and build a new one.
Right.
As part of the addition.
That's right. The shed's not what's bothering me here. What's bothering me here is the proximity of the excavation work and, but I'm all set.
So-
I'm all set.
All right, so no, we need to,
Staked in the field with adequate number of offset stakes. I don't understand the offset stakes part of it.
so,
So if you're building an addition, and these are your corners, you would go 5 feet,
Yeah.
10 feet straight out, and you go 5 feet and 10 feet straight out, you would pull the intersection to nail that corner right on. Ditto, everything around the limits. Good practice to do that. But the end game is, we want those corners to be accurate. I don't care how you do it. I don't care if you got a satellite coming in and tell you this is where, the laser beam said this is where we want it. However it is you do it, I think the 5s and 10s just,
all right, we don't have to do that then.
You know, we should,
Strike that,
this, it
that's
has to
fine.
be certified that it's where it's supposed to be. If it's not, too bad.
That's fine.
Yeah, the underlined
We shouldn't have to
parts.
tell them how to do it.
Just take out that underlined part. With an adequate number of stakes. Right?
You guys want to do the stakes?
No.
No, just
I don't think
eliminate
so.
it.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Eliminate it.
Where are we
Alright,
asking
so-
for the confirmation as-built? Is it
Number 59.
Let's go to 59, because
All right.
if that's adequately stated, then we just take that other
Okay.
condition out completely.
Oops, not garage,
Never
sorry.
required that with offsets.
Addition, foundation.
Right.
59 is what we always say, it's
Yep.
enough. 52 can, in my opinion, can come right out. It
Okay.
doesn't,
Yeah.
it almost tells them how it is we want them to comply, when the reality is
So-
all we want you to do is comply.
Do we want to tweak 59 to say, immediately upon completion of installing the blocks, but before pouring the slab?
First of all, this
Well,
isn't a
it's
ground,
not-
this is a ground foundation anyway, right? This is an addition.
Frost wall.
Yeah, but it's not a garage foundation.
No, I know, yeah.
Yeah, so
I
strike the
caught
garage
that.
out.
I
Yeah, so
caught
we
that.
don't need- we
I
don't
caught
need
that
that.
addition, yes.
All right,
Immediately upon completing installation of the foundation
Foundation wall.
blocks,
period.
Yeah.
Look, that's it.
but before
But prior,
slab pour.
There's no slab.
there is a slab.
They're
There
putting a
is.
slab on the top of the,
Within the block,
Within the
Within the
block,
blocks?
inside the block.
the cellar floor.
We've got
oh, so
block,
they're gonna build right off
we have
that.
block, masonry block foundation on a footing. We're gonna backfill. They're gonna come up and pour a slab on grade. It may have a little knee
It's
wall
1.5 feet
on the outside.
on the outside, yeah.
And this is gonna be poured concrete over compacted backfill on the inside. And then they're gonna build the sill and build the walls up above that.
Okay,
So, yeah,
blocks,
once the blocks are done, they can pin it before you pour the slab.
okay, yep,
Because you're certainly not gonna stop building your walls until the slab's in place, which means we're gonna get the certified plot plan, a certified foundation plan at the right time. So prior to slab placement.
final slab,
Yep.
okay. And then adding that we are requiring that the shed be,
So it's on,
Sir-
it's on
please.
concrete now, plastic is on concrete now,
Yeah.
and they're looking to put it on concrete in the future.
well, I guess, I suggested, well, I did a,
Is it gonna end up in the 50? When it's moved?
no, that's
No,
what we're trying to
kept it out,
avoid.
kept it out of the 50.
Yes, it's gonna be out of the 50,
So
but
it's
we
gonna
wanna
be-
ensure
It's
that,
gonna be in the buildable area.
yes,
Okay, so we don't care if they put concrete under it or not,
okay,
because if it's a
Gotcha.
structure and it's in a permitted area where structures can go.
yes. Okay, gotcha,
It's a push, I think.
okay. Prior to final slab. And then, but we want the location of the shed to be surveyed as well.
Yes.
And shall also be to ensure 50-foot no
Yeah, the shed's gonna be on concrete blocks, and they're not saying whether it's on a floor or not.
Right. I mean, right now, it's on a concrete. So 60?
What number?
60? I don't know if that's,
So good?
I don't think I understand. I don't,
Which one?
no,
60.
We're talking about
60, yeah.
So, again, we're ordering that the shed be moved, right?
Yeah.
But we're having it put outside of the 50.
Yeah.
So if it goes outside of the 50, I'm not sure I understand.
Well,
I mean, he's just outside of the 50, right?
yes,
But again, so's the foundation,
The
just outside the
shed.
50, right?
the shed shall be relocated to the acceptable location.
This whole thing is just outside the 50.
Right,
It looks like she
Question.
doesn't want the erosion from that area under the
Right.
shed to go out into the 50-foot no-build
Yeah.
zone.
I was just thinking, they're
Just
gonna
to make
plop it down. it's
Somehow
like-
stabilize that.
Yeah. And I guess we don't have to prescribe
It's-
how to do it, we could just tell them that the,
Have them install erosion controls until you're satisfied with the stability of the site, specific to the shed,
okay,
so that there can be no soil migration.
okay,
Yeah,
So
that's
they-
better.
A special ordering erosion controls right for, just for that shed.
yeah, it'll be inside the
Because
the
they gotta put
existing
erosion
erosion
controls,
controls.
it says here concrete pad, so they gotta dig a foot.
Right,
I mean, they should be putting it on blocks, but if they wanna put a pad,
okay, that's fine.
you know.
All right, so
The
we
pad's
won't
gonna be
prescribe
more
what
than
it
the
sits
shed.
on,
The
we're
smart-
just
I was
gonna
just gonna say, you know,
prescribe that
the
it's
Don't
smart-
tell
not.
them how to build it.
Okay.
No, we're not
gotcha.
gonna tell them, we're not gonna tell
They're
them how.
telling us.
They
The
are.
proposed relocated shed on concrete blocks, that to me says they can put patio blocks down. Take this plastic thing and put it on top
It's
of
a
it.
concrete pad.
Smart money puts it on just cement blocks,
Okay,
That's what it says.
and that's what it should be. And
All
you
right.
could put erosion controls around it until
Okay.
it's stable.
oh,
It'll be stable in no time.
The sad thing is, we're wrestling with a really crappy design.
That's right.
I know, tell me about it.
It says here, in any event, the shed and the concrete pad and timber shall be removed. Oh, shall be removed, okay. I got it.
I mean, I don't know, I mean, I'm just thinking, what if things go south and they don't do the addition?
Then we
Then-
issue an enforcement
Okay,
order to solve the problem.
And we also have a bond.
Well, you're assuming they pay it.
Yeah, that's true. All right, let's.
well, I mean, yeah, they could get the order and not do anything, right?
So they
It's-
can,
It's possible,
but if there's a
So
pre,
we'll have to track that and recognize if they're not gonna
Yes.
move forward, they're going to order the shed be removed.
yes.
that's right, that's-
Okay, got it.
right. It's simple.
I can say that somewhere, that, you know,
No violations will be permitted on site should the project not go forward.
there you go.
Need a motion?
So moved as amended.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Last but not least, old new business, 201 Sutton Street, tree cutting violation order.
You gave me a chance to catch up.
Oh, okay.
She's buried over there with paperwork.
Well, you saw it first, Lou.
What's that?
You saw the tree cutting first.
Yes, I did.
So Lou told me about tree cutting, that he saw, not the cutting, but the cut stumps at 201 Sutton,
Behind Richdale.
behind Richdale, by the dam, at like, so he told me, you know, let's write him a letter, a warning letter. I'm going to meet him out there next week. He mentioned in his response email that he thought Minicucci cut him down.
On his property.
Don't know about any of that. I know there's a relationship between that property and the name just mentioned.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
either.
but he would, Louis would be cutting.
He wasn't doing it personally, I guarantee it.
Oh, I know he
Oh, no,
wasn't.
no, no.
But he wouldn't be directing people to go cut trees on somebody else's yard. Can I cut the trees in your yard, Jamie? No,
I don't have any left.
I don't have any left.
but I could put the walking trail through.
Yes, you can put a trail through it.
All right.
Yeah.
So is any action needed on this?
No, not,
We should probably,
not unless you feel the need, I just wanted you to be aware of it.
so we should probably refer this matter to the architect Greg Smith, whether he was taking exception to cutting trees on the same brook further up by the dam. Nah, that's a bad idea. He'll tell him how to do it right.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I
Leave
think
the-
the letter's,
leave the
I think the
sleeping
letter's
dog
sufficient.
lie.
I think this is enough, yeah.
All
I
right,
think
As a
that's
first
sufficient.
shot, as a first pass,
as
yeah.
a first
Well, I mean-
shot over the bow, yeah, okay,
Well, I agree. I think. should
It's
we-
on, it's on the record, it's in the file.
yes.
It doesn't make sense. These people know better, and
Well-
there's something going on.
This-
Names, right?
Yeah, we gotta be, we're on TV, we gotta be nice.
Who owns the property that the trees were cut on?
Pellet.
College.
Who does?
Pellet.
Joe-
So he was on his own property?
Joe
Yes.
College.
But he's saying somebody else cut him.
Oh,
So there's,
so there was a crime committed, it was larceny. Larceny of wood. Well, that's, I mean, if somebody else cut him, right?
There are a lot of private ownership in business relationships that go far beyond who owns the property. There is things like facilitating how Richdale is in that location. So trust me, if that's the story, there's probably something to it. But it doesn't matter. The property owner's responsible. Let them sort through it.
There's also more to the story as
All
far
right.
as the dam. That, those trees were discussed at a pre-construction meeting.
No, I mean, at a, just
At a-
Office of Dam Safety has issued a notice of
And
non-compliance.
he,
That's up in Oxford, or just down at
No.
Kitchener Brook itself?
this
Down
one.
at the-
this is
yeah.
a
Down here
different
too?
one.
Oh, below Dizzy Bridge? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
well, just- And then,
Yeah, this is down by Sutter Street.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
he just wanted
This
to
is at
cut,
the outfall.
he
Yeah.
just didn't want to cut the trees. And the dam people, well, I said to him, when you redo the dam, you gotta pull the root, take the stumps right out. He didn't like that.
The whole violation doesn't make any sense.
Well,
No.
he claims that he's got an engineer working on the notice of intent for the dam. So,
So is a preemptive strike to remove the trees?
well,
I got the lottery winning
doesn't make
check in
sense.
my pocket also.
All right, so what do you need for this?
nothing.
Nothing.
I want you
This
to
is an
be
FYI.
aware. We want you to be aware.
So this is just to let us.
Continuing and ongoing.
All right.
But after we do the pre-construction, after we meet with him and talk to him
Yeah,
about this,
yeah.
put it back on the agenda so the commission knows what's going on.
Okay, all right.
And
I
if you
will.
want-
I'll report out.
And if you want me to go there, I will.
Okay, all right.
If they don't remove the dam, it doesn't make any sense
They
to
gotta
remove all the trees.
They gotta
Well, they gotta-
rebuild the dam,
They have to,
just like they do the one out back here. But
Deficient,
when is it gonna happen?
Yeah, yeah.
In our lifetime?
That dam
doubtful.
was built by Eben Sutton in the 1870s. That's when that dam was built. Yep.
It's had a hell of a track record.
All right, well, motion,
Actually, I think he did a pretty good job that it's lasted this long.
yeah,
That's a pretty good job of construction of a dam.
motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous,
Time on deck is 8:25.
because I'm sure.